Let's get ready to rumble!
All right, so we're gonna go into part 2 of Jillian Michaels versus the body activist. We're gonna do one more of the first claim, which is that obesity is not healthy. The two people that went before did not actually challenge the claim, and so we'll do one more, and then we'll jump to the another claim that they tackled on Jubilee. So let's go ahead and get in.
What I'm curious about is if you care about people's health, and you have people in front of you, and I'm sure you have people online who are telling you that the body positivity movement, or I prefer body liberation, body justice, body acceptance, body blah, all the good shit that we like.
Okay.
Body liberation, body justification
actually increases their health, then I don't understand your debate. Like, what are you debating if the fat people are telling you it makes their life better?
I'm debating their physical health, and I'm debating the people who claim that you can be physically healthy at any size.
Okay. Do you think you can be physically healthy and mentally unhealthy at the same time?
Of course, but that's not the claim.
Okay, sure. I think the part where I get stuck,
See, and this is the thing. The claim, they're basically saying, again, we saw this with the first one. The person in the body, the person inside the fat body, they're separating them, right? They're trying to separate, and they're trying to play this dualism, right? At first, they want to, it's just interesting to me how they want to play this dualism. When it comes to, there's the person, and then there's the body, which if you believe in something dualism, then by all means, you're good. I believe in it, right? I believe that there's a soul, and I think that the body and the soul operate together. They're basically making it sound like that the person, right, whatever immaterial source they're going to, because I don't know what they mean by the person inside the fat body, but they're playing the substance dualism card from what I could tell, and they're basically going like, well, you can still be happy in a fat body. It's not, the claim is not, look at the claim. The claim is obesity is not healthy. The claim is not, are you happy being obese? The claim is you have to, no one has yet to bring it up. And her bringing up, well, can you be happy, fat, and have a mental disorder? Or can you do both of them? That's not the claim.
I'm a mental health professional. I work with people from a body liberation standpoint. I work with people in all shapes of bodies. What I know to be true from my experience is that body positivity, body liberation helps people take care of themselves. It's very difficult to understand why you think somebody is going to take better care of a body they hate. Like why body positivity would not inspire people to take better care of their bodies.
My argument.
Right. And here's the thing about it. How do you take care of your body better? You go figure out if there's something wrong. Having too much of something is not a good thing. We know this, right? I bet you money if we sat in front of them, be like, is having too much money a bad thing? Yes, it could be. Is having too much popularity a bad thing? Yeah. Having too much body fat is not a good thing. On top of the fact that you're more at risk of a lot of different things. Again, it's not saying that skinny people won't, or people with skinny people, or people with a medium build, or people that go to the gym, they're not going to have health issues. But when you're obese, you're prone to more stuff. Your body is not at a optimal level because there's so many that you're messing up your metabolism, your metabolics, your immune system is probably going to be more compromised. You're at risk of more of other severity of diseases and stuff like that. Just because you tell people, and my thing would be like this: what do you mean by like the body that they hate? If they don't want to be a certain weight, because and by the way, that's to me, it always shows the point. They're not gonna be happy in the body that they have, right? Which means that they know that this is not the way that your body ought to be. This is not the way that the body is supposed to work. You're not supposed to be 400 fucking pounds. You're not supposed to be over fucking 300 pounds. If you're not, and then you're not working out, you're not doing anything physical, then you're not trying to do anything. Of course, you're not gonna be happy. Of course, you're gonna hate yourself for that because you're not able to do what you want to do because your body is not in an optimal position.
Never said you should hate your body. In fact,
you
should.
Didn't.
Okay, so they don't think that. What I think is that there are people in the movement
Yeah.
who have co-opted healthy at any size, and it went from access to healthcare
Okay.
to quite literally meaning for them that you can be healthy at any size, and that's not true.
Okay. I mean, the studies show that if you're very, 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 very
You can-
thin,
she could-
or your
she could
body is
see
very,
it.
very, very, very big, it is more difficult to be healthy. That is absolutely
But
true.
then you agree with me on this point.
Right.
I don't, because I don't think body positivity is the dangerous thing. I think hatred of fat bodies and people hating themselves and people living in self-loathing because they've been taught that their body is the wrong shape. That's the danger.
Both can be true at once. So let's look at this, right? So the
Okay.
first thing we would want to do, obviously, is incentivize somebody. So it's like, okay, what's the why that's going to allow you to tolerate the how? But hold on. That's the positive. That's the inspiration piece. Okay. Now, here's the issue. If that piece, if all the things that they get out of it don't serve them as much as the things they're getting out of being overweight, and it does provide quite a lot. I can give you an example.
Wait.
Then they're not going unconsciously, they will sabotage the change. Can I give you an example so you'll understand it? Okay. There was a kid that I worked with
Okay.
on Biggest Loser. He's 18 years old.
Okay.
He shows up with his dad, Ken. They both lose like 100 pounds. They go home
Mm-hmm.
and they're visiting their family. It's the holidays. Doors fly open and there's mom. And mom starts crying. And she's not crying tears of joy. She feels like they're going to abandon her, like they broke the contract, like they've outgrown her. And she becomes sad and she withdraws. So what does the 18-year-old do? He starts eating with mom again. What does the food provide him? A connection with his mom. I had something similar with my dad. This is one of the ways that we connected. Food provides a lot of people with a lot of different things.
Yes, you cannot eat and not have your parasympathetic nervous system turn on at the same time. There's no such thing as not emotional eating. It's fine. It's good. It's great. Food is great.
But what I'm trying to show you is that
Yeah, food is great with moderation. Just because you connect with someone through eating doesn't mean that every time you're gonna eat that amount. It's not good for you. And it's crazy to me that some people would have the same type of mentality of eating and know that they're probably like, and they probably go home and go like, oh, I shouldn't be eating like this. It's not good for me, but because it's making her or making them happy, I'm gonna keep doing it. Right. And then here's the thing about it. The 18-year-old could have saw this and would have been like, mom, if my mom and dad if dad and I could change, you can do the same thing. Because if the 18-year-old was in an accomplishment, was in a level of accomplishment, and he felt good about himself, and he was like, yo, I hit a goal and stuff like that, and your mom is over here, that almost, it would be a guilt trip on the mom. The guilt trip. What was the mom not proud that both her husband and her son lost that kind of weight, that they put themselves through that motivation, that they put themselves through the hard work? And because you don't want to put yourself through the hard work, you don't want to do it. Again, I don't know. So what, you're going to guilt trip your son who lost weight to come and gain weight because you don't want to put in the work. They put in the work, but you didn't put in the work. No, I don't know about that, bro.
if in some cases, the pain associated with continuing that defense mechanism is greater than the pain associated with change, it helps people change in some cases.
Not in the long term. And I
Don't agree
struggle.
with you.
Pause there.
Don't agree with
Sorry,
you.
but
Okay, so that's the one claim. I don't think any of the three that we saw actually ended up with the claim. And this is the stupidest thing. Argue the claim. Argue the claim. Obesity is not healthy and pretending it is alive. This woman was probably maybe the closest one when it came to it, but none of them actually attacked the claim. The first one couldn't even say the word obesity. Triggered her. But let's go on to the third claim that they have here. All right, so the third claim is the body positivity movement oversimplifies disorder eating and trauma.
As a kid, would overeat. I wouldn't say binge eating disorder, but I would compulsively overeat. I would eat to have a connection with my father. I would eat to feel a sense of comfort. I would eat to feel a sense of control, without question.
And did you feel shame and then go to
Look at that shirt. Look at that shirt. You already know where we're going with this one.
therapy to work on that, or did you just
I definitely
oversimplify it and then kind of
I didn't oversimplify. I was 13, 14, and 15. So I didn't have the bandwidth to process what was actually going on. I was in therapy for other things that were going on in my household, and I definitely was helped.
Okay. So I'm glad that you're able to, go to therapy. That's not something that everyone is able to go to. It's a luxury and a privilege for a lot of people, especially in the United States. I have dealt with an eating disorder since I was 7. That's when it was first realized. It wasn't diagnosed at 7, but it was realized at that point. And my body fluctuated. I'm not going to use numbers because I think there are a lot of people that have disordered eating that use numbers as a metric. And so they'll look at me and I'll say a metric, and then it'll cause someone to have what I like to call a shift in where they are now to where they're going to be down like a rabbit hole of disordered eating behaviors. I think that trauma and eating disorders go hand in hand, but they're not exclusive. There are people that don't necessarily have any trauma, but somehow have developed some sort of eating disorder. My eating disorder was something that I had from a really young age, and then
I don't think that nobody's going to dispute that. I think trauma can cause people to cope in different ways. Could be drugs, could be overeating, could be even the smallest little things, hurting themselves. So I don't see a problem with what's going on with the discussion so far, right? That a traumatic experience in someone's life could cause someone, to overeat.
just worsened because of my physical perception around people, but it wasn't something that innately was trauma based. I am neurodivergent, and it was never diagnosed until I was, almost 30. So, but that's not because of trauma. That's just.
Are we getting a bunch of like neurodivergent? That's like the third person I think that has said the same thing. So is everybody in the body positivity movement part of this? Has like some kind of like neuropathy or neurotrauma or all this crap going on in their brain?
Because of my neurodivergence, that's how my
Yeah,
brain is connected.
neurodivergence.
And so sometimes with neurodivergent people, they have eating rituals, eating routines that are rigid.
But that's what I'm asking. I'm asking the question of like, does this movement just grab all the people that have neurodivergency with eating and then just put them all together? Like, do all of these people in this circle have the same issue?
And so that's where mine came from. So to say it's oversimplifying EDs, like body positivity is oversimplifying EDs, oversimplifying trauma, you're taking away the people that use the body positivity moment to find someone who they can relate to, and so someone that they can connect with that doesn't have the same road that maybe the masses had, but has their same road. Yeah.
You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Whoa.
All right. Well, I mean, like there was no really discussion there. Like she basically was just saying she was just basically giving us her little issues of divergency. Let's see what the next person can do.
Hi. I'm Summer. How are you?
Jillian, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Okay, so the body positivity movement actually got me out of my eating disorder, and if that's okay, I would like to tell you a little bit about it.
Absolutely.
So growing up, I wasn't ever fat. I just have I have large breasts. I have got a condition, basically. I know you're laughing.
I'm laughing because that would be my dream. That's the only reason I'm laughing. I was like, poor you, Summer. Sorry,
okay.
Go ahead.
So I've got a condition called macromastia. It means that my breasts will just continuously keep growing. So I had to deal with this like my whole childhood, and I got like picked on and bullied. And
oh, well, I mean, yeah, picked on. I bet you the people that were picking on her were girls, because I know ain't no guy picking on that. You know what I'm saying?
Stuff because I was 8 years old with like double D's, so I had to lose weight in order to get a reduction. At this point, I was actually a Scottish size 6, which is a UK size 2. So like on the bottoms, just obviously not on my top. So this actually drove me into an eating disorder, and I started to starve myself and try and make myself thinner so that my breasts would get smaller, and that never ever happened. Like they just continuously, because it's obviously a condition, so they just kept getting bigger as I was getting smaller and smaller. And it wasn't until obviously the online platform made the body positivity movement more aware to me. And posting more online about my body, and I just think that your claim's a little bit silly.
Can I give you some examples? What
Of
I'm talking
course,
about?
please.
So while intuitive eating is actually
And okay, so let me get this right with her. She had an issue with an actual condition where her breast would just keep growing, but the rest of the body wouldn't. And so she wanted to get a breast reduction, so she needed to hit a specific weight. So she starved herself and stopped eating, or stopped eating. So she went the opposite of overeating. She went under eating because she wanted to get a breast reduction and it wasn't working. And apparently the movement helped her be happy with her body. I don't see the correlation, right? Because you have a condition, you have a legitimate condition of your actual body part growing, and you needed to hit a certain weight. I don't understand how this attacks the claim.
not intended for people with eating disorders. I cannot tell you how many people have misinterpreted that. And I've ended up dealing with it personally for quite some time now. So, for example, things like avoid diets where mechanistic eating is actually recommended for people with many different types of eating disorders. And even the women who started intuitive eating suggested that, like, hey, this is a goal, not a treatment plan. But when you've got, random people online who are, hey, just listen to your feelings of fullness. You can't do that when you're anorexic. Your body no longer recognizes those satiety cues. It absolutely shuts it down. And it's, what was it? Listen to your hunger. Like, you cannot do that if you have binge eating disorder and you're feeding a deeper hunger. It's the fundamental ways in which things like intuitive eating have.
And I would agree with this, right? Because anorexic people, beyond the physiological problem, there's a psychological problem. There literally is a psychological problem when it comes to it. It would be the same way with a person that overeats or binge eats. There's a psychological aspect that needs to be done. So if you're saying listen to your hunger, stuff like that, if you overeat and you undereat, it has an effect on your brain, right? One of the most interesting things, and one of the things I've gotten into, especially like since I've been reading more about health and stuff like that, is that your gut plays an important role in your brain, to your brain. Like the connection between your gut and your brain is crazy, right? If y'all want to read something like the gut paradox, things like that, Outlived, find those books. It explains how the gut is important to the development of the brain, to how you process things, to how you think, brain fog, all this stuff. So if you're putting stuff in your body that's bad and it's affecting the gut, it's going to affect the brain. So even if you're telling them, oh, listen to your hunger, you have the Snickers. When you're hungry, grab a Snickers. If you're listening to your hunger, or you're not listening to your hunger, you're listening to certain things, and you're not actually thinking about how you're eating and what you're eating and what's going in your body, but you're just going, oh, I'm hungry now, I'm gonna go eat. Oh, I'm not, this is I don't want to eat now. That's gonna affect it. Your gut is actually playing a big role. So it is not only a physiological thing, there's also a psychological issue too that you have to deal with, because anorexic people, I think, beyond they have body dysmorphia, right? And so that's going to play a role in how they're going to eat and then, go and puke their shit out.
Been misrepresented by the masses. And of course, I understand what it was intended for. But if you think that the vast majority of these people posting on TikTok have read the freaking guidelines of mechanistic eating, I think we're both dreaming.
No, I get that. But I think the thing in my head is like, why do you care so much about someone else's body in order to like try and argue against body positivity? Like, say someone's like,
this is a garbage line of argumentation. Why do you care about how other people look and how the people feel? So what if body positivity is telling people to be fat? Because we know it's not a good thing. Because we know it's the same thing with the abortion debate. Why do you care about what women do with their bodies? Because I care that you're killing not only an innocent human being in the womb, but that you also might that type of mentality and that type of culture cultivating abortion is not good for society. Well, why do you care about transgenderism? Because I know that it's not good for them, and it's also not good for society. Having, overweight people, obese people, anorexic people in society, and then telling them that it's okay, is lying to them. It's a lie, and lying is not it's not going to help anybody. It's not.
Fat, obese, whatever, walking on the street, that doesn't actually affect you as a person.
Totally right.
So I don't understand.
But it does. It does affect me as a person. This is the same type of argument that they use for transgenderism. Oh, just give them the rights. Just let them do their surgery. It's not going to help. And here we are having debates about whether trans men and trans women can be allowed to play in a women's sports, trans bathrooms. This is the same argumentation. Oh, who cares if they're obese? I care, because what's going to happen is you guys are going to start pushing it, bitching about it, making rules that, we have to accommodate a certain way, that you need to do this, you need to do that. This is, bro, we've seen this argumentation before with transgenderism.
And why you would feel the need to fight for people that are arguing for that person to feel validated as a person.
I'm not arguing for the person I don't know. However, there are people that do want help. And I think that this can leave them feeling exceptionally confused. There are many that I have tried to personally help that have experienced feeling misled, misguided by some of the, or almost all of the intuitive eating principles, and they're not being educated on
But
that
you could
fact.
also argue like the latter.
But there are a lot of people that actually want help, and I care that they.
I would agree with you with Jillian Michaels. I think that the percentage of these body activists, body positivity activists, is less, and it's not a big majority of them that a lot of people think this way, because a lot of people always think about it. Even when you have your little New Year's resolution, a lot of people want to lose weight, want to get in better shape. That's the majority of people that tend to think this. The population, I think most of us intuitively, if we were under eating or overeating, intuitively we will know that we need to change. When you go to the doctor, however arbitrary you think those numbers are, right? Oh, you're overweight, you're underweight, whatever. You still understand that the way that your body works, the way that your body is, a lot of times usually tells you whether your body's helping or not. But again, you have to run all these tests, and the test will give you more clarification. But the majority of people in the camps of either being too big or too small, they understand. They have to get in better shape, because physically, your bones have to carry all that weight. And we haven't even gotten to the part of the bone mass, of the muscles that have to take on that extra weight, right? That's not a good thing. So I don't, this argumentation from her, well, why do you care? Why do you care? We care because a society that is accepting certain taboos or whatever is going to be affected one way or the other. And by this group, this movement constantly having to say, yeah, it's okay to be big, you're happy. Oh, don't worry about the heart conditions. Don't worry about the lungs. Don't worry about your blood pressure. Don't worry about your cholesterol. You're fine. As long as you're happy eating those donuts, that pizza all the time, it's okay. Oh, you're 40, you're 50 years old, but you weigh less than 100 pounds. It's okay. You don't want to eat. That's fine. You want to, that's okay. That's an issue. And then that's an issue that we eventually all have to deal with.
They get the most.
But I don't think the body
help.
positivity movement is like just for obese people, just for people that are drastically need help.
Anorexia is
It's
not
for-
obesity.
So I was anorexic, and the body positivity movement helped me. Do you not think that the body positive movement helps them? rather than
I
shaming
think
them, because that's how they get in that place in the first place, with other people shaming them constantly.
I'm not suggesting anyone should be shamed. You're completing two different issues. I don't think
But
that
I
people.
think in one, it's all one issue.
It's not though, sweetheart. You're telling me that you think I think shame is awesome. I don't.
No, I didn't.
I don't.
They use that in the Eastern conditions, right? In the Western world, shame is not, which some people would argue we should bring it back, but in the East, shame was actually used as a deterrent for you doing stupid shit like this.
I didn't connect
I
with this.
think that these tools or things like, oh, you know what? It's society, it's diet culture, it's this, it's that, it's bigotry. I like, no, dude, it's probably the fact that like somebody, God forbid, touched you when you were a kid.
I don't think
or-
that's appropriate or even right. In the slightest bit.
You
No
really
one
don't think
touched
so?
me.
No,
And
not you, dude.
no
I'm not
one-
talking about you.
I completely get that. And
I'm not
you
talking
also
about you
keep mentioning
personally.
like parents. I have two very loving parents. My parents never made me feel shamed about my body. It was like TV shows like The Biggest Losers. In the UK, we've got Super Size versus Super Skinny. Like it was all of these TV shows that made me feel like this. It wasn't my parents.
I'm going to suggest.
Okay, you're watching these shows. So what did your parents? So what I would argue then, okay, so now you're gonna blame everybody else for you taking on a specific, which happens. I get it. There's a again, this is psychological, right? She just admitted it's a psychological thing. She watched the shows. She said you can't be a certain size and stuff like that. But if you understand Biggest Losers, these people specifically, right? Because she don't want to look. They hate the generalization to individuality. The Biggest Loser was basically these people saying, I don't want to be this big. And so you had these 3 trainers, right? And they helped them lose a certain weight. That was it. She basically said, oh, I watched that show and they were telling me that, you know, stuff like that. But I have loving parents. Your parents should have been there. Listen, I think you actually have a condition, right? Where your breasts are getting bigger. You can't control that, right? You need that person does. But your parents could have communicated with you and said, hey, listen, you know, what happened? What are you not happy with your size? You know, do we need to change something, dieting and stuff like that? It's a normal thing. My parents did the same thing. When my parents found out that they had, you know, diabetes or on the verge of it, they took a lot of the salty foods out the way. I learned at the beginning of my life, I used to eat rice with salt. Right, my mom used to salt season the mess out of that rice. When she found out and she had to be very careful, she took the salt off the rice, and then I learned how to eat without the rice. Now I can do it either way, and I actually prefer eating without salt. You know what I'm saying? Look at people always either. Again, she just admitted this was a psychological thing. A psychological thing. So it's not just a physiological thing. The body positivity movement is trying to basically counteract and use their psychological war and basically say, nah, just be happy being fat. It's okay being fat. It's okay. We're gonna accept you as you are. It's not a good thing. You're still lying to people. You are still lying to them when it comes to it. All right. We're gonna leave it there. Okay. I kind of want to do one more. I want to finish this claim. We'll do one more video on this, and then that will wrap up our Jillian Michaels with this body movement activist people. But yeah, let me know what you think about this video and what you thought about any of these arguments. Again, all I'm hearing is personal stories and not really attacking the issues at hand. None of these people are making or attacking the claim when it comes to it. But let me know. Thank you guys. Hit the like and subscribe button. I'll catch you on the next video.